That's NFL schedule, the aftermath. Okay, nobody slept. Everybody's hungover. We're going to bring you back to life and give you a shot of an IV with Mike North. I'm sure he's never been introduced or teased that way. He's the VP of Broadcast Planning and Scheduling. He is the benevolent overlord, having to deal with not only 32 teams but like a million partners. I think 9. Ed Rooney, Ferris Bueller, 9 times, 9 partners, including YouTube in that game in Brasilia for the second season in a row. So many ins, so many outs. Falcons, 5 primetime games. Vikings all over the standalone games, the national broadcast. Lots to get into. I have a lot of questions from you guys and a lot of complaining that I'm going to ignore because we don't have enough time in this show for me to like bite back at some of you idiots that are upset about some things. Anyway, love you. Go to FanDuel Sportsbook, please, and have some fun over there with the new schedule. There's a lot of futures bets. We're going to go over that. And we also have New York Giants GM Joe Schoen on the program. Okay. We're going to talk to him, sure, about the Giants schedule, but I want to dig into the ins and outs and what have yous of that quarterback room. What a show. Joe Schoen, GM of the New York Giants. They had Gabe Davis in yesterday. Are they adding to their receiver room? Are they adding Gabe Davis to said receiving room? There was a lot of connective tissue between he and Dable, of course, from up in Buffalo. What does that mean? Who's starting? OTAs, all those things. And a lot to be excited about if you're a Giants fan, which I'm very excited to talk to him about. We have the full NFL schedules, and so let's take a look at some of the primetime actions. This is always where the first eyeballs go and the most complaints go, right? Chiefs lead the way with 7, followed by the NFC East trio of the Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys with 6. Happy to see the Bills, Lions, Packers. Okay. They're well represented under the bright lights. And by the way, the Browns, Titans, Saints, the only teams that did not get a primetime game this year. There's always the option of putting your head down, doing the work, looking at the schedule and flexing into those spots late in the season. Lots to talk about with Mike North. He is the NFL schedule whiz. He's never been on this program, but I'm very excited to have him. Before we get to that, I do want to go over like what I like, the things that popped up. Let's make it about me and what I think as a fan looking at this schedule. There's a lot to like. It's so exciting. It's a great day to sort of look at the grid and the nitty gritty. These aren't necessarily like the biggest games, but I really like, let's go to week 8. Okay. Week 8, Sunday Night Football, Packers and Steelers. Now I've been wondering, of course, how Mike, and I'll ask him, like, how are you handling the Aaron Rodgers of it all? Like how, like, you know, there's 9 partners. Is he the 10th? Like, is he the one, like, he's holding things up potentially? How big of a draw is he? 2 years ago, I know he was certainly a factor. Is he as much as a factor this go around? It's a great question. And I don't know if Mike knows something that we don't. We'll ask him. But if this is Aaron Rodgers' first game against Green Bay, it's going to be pure cinema. I might have to go. Sorry to the broadcast, but you're going to lose somebody giving you ratings. I want to be there in person. It's right smack in the middle of the season. It's something to look forward to if it happens. You have the grand treatment. You've got my faves. You've got Mike Tirico and Collinsworth on the call. Yeah, if we got it at Lambeau, I'd be, of course, more excited about that, but I'm still here for all of it. And at number 4, we're going to do like a little 5-1 here. No order of fave to not fave, but week 1, Chiefs Chargers, right out the gates, long rumored official in Brazil, exclusively on YouTube, free on YouTube globally. This one has everything. You got a big divisional rivalry. The biggest stakes you can have in a week 1 matchup, Mahomes versus Herbert, the arms, the talent. Then there's the international component. There's a groundbreaking broadcast that's going to have to happen with the YouTube stream. Kansas City early, 2.5-point faves in this one right now over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Just saying. Another one I really like, Eagles Chiefs, a rematch. Oh, this is a good one. We're getting this one early. Week 2. Do I love that? Probably. Maybe Mike North can talk me through this one. It's the late window on Fox. Arrowhead's going to be insane. And this is what I believe is and I believe that the NFL believes this too, and this is the revenge tour. We're not going to give them less. We're going to give them more. He's going to light the world on fire. I'd like to see how things go this time. We got KC I don't know if I'll say improved O-line, reshuffled, reconfigured offensive line in front of Mahomes protecting him. Eagles fans so annoyed, already up in arms, already worked up because the Chiefs, this is insane. The Chiefs are an early 1.5 point fave over on FanDuel Sportsbook after how the Super Bowl went. Is that deserved? Should it be so? Hamilton, chime in here because, we should have just like patched in Core Chain, our incredible, relentless graphics wizard here on the show. Yep. He had a great line about it. And he's not complaining about it, but I like the agitation on the Eagle side.
Yeah, and his line was, I guess home field is worth 32.5 points to the odds makers. Fantastic. But yeah, I was surprised too to see that after the way that Super Bowl went. Like, these rosters aren't that much different that it would change that much, but yeah, it's going to be a great one. I would expect that to be. I don't think we see another blood. I think we get a great game there.
Yeah, they have 7 primetime games. I'm not surprised at all. They are a team that has global appeal. We're talking about a dynasty. We're talking about even just popularity, flash, meaningful. Like, I'm shocked this morning, and we'll talk about this with Mike. I'm shocked that there's any sort of like, clutch pearl. Why is there pearl clutching going? Are y'all new?
Yeah.
Can I introduce you to the 2025 in it? Like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like the primetime game. I know it's a ego thing. It's a pride thing. I very much like the Chiefs are going to be in primetime, y'all, more than everybody else. Like, I don't know why that's shocking to anyone. I'm shocked by the shock.
Yeah, and I was wondering, like, if the Chiefs losing that Super Bowl would calm down any of the Chiefs fatigue or Chiefs hate, but we got our answer with the schedule release last night. It has not. People there's Chiefs hatred. Yeah, there's Chiefs fatigue. Yeah.
I see revenge tour. There's a lot of early primetime games. They're obviously like, they'd like to be on Christmas. Mike has talked about that and what that might look like is, the thing. I'm not gonna I'm not surprised. It's not a take, but like to be surprised by that is absolutely wild. And then people are bringing up Taylor Swift. I'm not talking about Taylor Swift on this very program. Okay, I really like Bears and Commanders too. Let's get to that. Okay, I love that. Week 6. It's a week 6 Monday nighter. Biggest game to me, yeah, because it's a rematch of the Hail Mary situation. Love that. Of course, like that moment, it was iconic from last year. We talked about it in our morning meeting like every other week. I feel like we talk about that play. Beyond that, both of these teams, they're going to be so fun. The offenses are going to be so explosive. It is so eye candy. It is such popcorn. And I think we get like a Monday night classic between Caleb and Jaden. And I'm really looking forward to that. That is one that just like for the eye candy of it all, aesthetics, I'm into. And really for the future of the NFL, like in the world that Rodgers does hang it up. And these guys like that, we've watched for so long start to, this is like the passing of the torch that I'm into, these new classics. I need to I need to be on TikTok and figure out like what the next wave, the next gen's all about. The last one I'll talk about, and of course we have Joe Schoen, the GM of the Giants, coming on the show. We have Mike North, the overlord, gentle overlord of the schedule coming up, an absolute puzzle solver. I like Bengals at Bills. I think that's my favorite game on this schedule. Okay, it's week 14, meaningful, late window, Fox, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, first week of December. Chilly, AFC playoff implications, MVP implications on both sides. Burkhardt, Brady. It feels big. It feels sexy. It feels scary already. We're not even started. It's the matchup, guys. It is the timing, guys. It is the broadcast, guys. It just really does not get better than this. So there's my five games that I'm most excited for. Bengals at Bills week 14. That one is circled. That's going to be a good one. Bears at Commanders, just for the aesthetics and maybe potentially the future of what could be between these two guys in the NFC. That's a big one on Monday night. Bright lights. Hard to follow up a Hail Mary, but I think they can do it, and they'll be so exciting. Ben Johnson, it's really on you. It's really on you. Eagles at Chiefs, of course. Chiefs, Chargers, Brazil. First YouTube action globally to kick it off. I'm excited about that. And Packers at Steelers. Interesting. Two great teams in a vacuum. And then you add the potential Aaron Rodgers wrinkle. I wonder how many times Mike North's been asked about Aaron Rodgers over the past 24 hours. I'm so excited to have him and so grateful to have him when there's so much going on. In celebration of FanDuel, by the way, we've got some awesome future parlays. I think we'll get to those a little bit later. Should we do that now? All right, guys, go over to FanDuel. We've got some future specials. You have to basically go to the NFL part of the world of the app. You have to hit NFL Future Specials tab. And there's some great custom ones here. I'm actually going to go over them a little bit later in the show. I want to have plenty of room with Mike North. We're going to get back to this. We will be back after this on Up and Adams with Joe Schoen. We've got Mike North hitting us up and hit me. I mean, the thousands of questions and the millions of complaints from Mike North this morning. We'll dig into it all after this. I have it, yeah. I'd rather just get to Mike if we have him logged on,
Yeah,
Great.
Totally.
And even if there's lapse between him and Joe, we can't do it there, yeah. Never mind. I'll figure it out. We could do it in a break.
Yeah.
I mean, the complaints that I'm getting the most, obviously, is I love the Bengals. They're playing at Baltimore for the 4th year in a row. I think they've got 3 of their 4 primetime games are on the road. Like, these are not the things we should be worrying. We are focused as a people on the wrong thing. And I'm here to steward us on to, how about you focus on winning some games? How about you focus on making the playoffs, on winning games that will give you sexier matchups for a Mike North to play with, more marquee vibes with the way that you finish. How about we focus on starting fast this year? And you can, by the way, here's my optimism. Why aren't we focused on like the good part of it? You're starting off at road game at Cleveland, never easy to go win that Cleveland game. Go. Great. You're going to start 1-0. And then you're going to, I think, host Jacksonville. Great. Yeah. Beat the pants off them too. Sorry, Hamilton. I know you're a Jags guy. Beat them. So now you're starting 2-0. You have a quick start for the first time if you get Shamar and Trey figured out. So like we are like really, we're arguing about the wrong things. Okay. We're arguing about him not taking the garbage out when he's cheating on you. You know, like those are the focus on that part. Okay. He's not coming home. Okay. He's late nights at the office. Like, and you're worried about like, he leaves the food out. Like, we're focused on the wrong things, Bengals fans. Let's do that. Yeah, and I have optimism about it. And go to Baltimore. And I understand it's like, the truth is like they have an electric atmosphere. They're prideful. They want to show it. Go there, take care of business. It'll get you ready for playoff action. Go. And get flexed.
And to your point, get flexed. And to your point, when you finish third place in the division, like you don't get as many marquee matchups because of the formula. That's not up to the schedule makers. That's how it works. You finish higher in the division, you get better opponents, and will likely get more primetime games. So that all plays into it.
I'm not hearing complaints from some, like the Saints. They don't have a primetime game. They're like, got to earn that. Got to figure that out. But Bengals, we gotta focus. That's what I'm here for. All right, we got Mike North right now. How about these Vikings? I can't wait to ask about this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
This gives me so much anxiety. Like I absolutely cannot. I'm not somebody that enjoys chess, Sudoku, a Rubik's Cube, the Da Vinci Code. Like this is a puzzle that looks insurmountable to me. 272 games, 32 teams, 18 weeks. Behold the 2025 NFL schedule. And we bring you today, and it truly is an honor, a debut on the Up and Adams show, the man of the hour, NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning and Scheduling for 20-something years, Mike North. What does it feel like?
Okay, good to see you again. It feels good. It's a labor of love. You know, you've talked to Charlotte Carey and Howard Katz and Hans Schroeder before. It is truly all-encompassing, 24/7, pretty much every day since the Super Bowl. And you're looking for the one magical, mythical, perfect schedule at all 32 teams and all 7 media partners and all 6 international venues. And everybody just loves and throws nothing but platitudes and roses and sunshine at you. That's probably not the one we found, but we're proud of it. We're happy for everybody to get to see it, having worked on something for so long. And now, unfortunately, I have to wait 4 months until the season starts. I wish it started tomorrow.
I said that just yesterday. Absolutely. Congratulations. I hope you are getting the roses and the loves and the edible arrangements from fans and the brass alike. Having done so many of these, been part of so many of these, what makes this schedule unique?
Probably the most unique thing, at least to me, obviously more mouths to feed than ever before. All the streaming partners, all the international games, we're playing Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. And the sport is just harder and harder to predict. What do any of us know, right? It's May, and we're trying to project which of these games are going to matter 7 months from now in December. Like, the NFL's really hard to predict. You can have some of your, go-tos, your count-ons, whether it's, all the usual suspects, Dallas, Kansas City, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. And then there's always going to be some up-and-comers, and we probably leaned in a little more on the Commanders than maybe some people thought. So we need the good teams to be good. We need the big brands and the superstar quarterbacks to be competitive and stay healthy. And then we need all the games down the stretch, like I heard you talking before, Cincy Buffalo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We need them to matter, and we need a little serendipity. We need a little good luck to go with, hopefully, all the things that we put in place that we had a vision for, and we'll see if it pans out that way.
Yeah, it's hard to you can't predict. I love that you're saying that. That said, last year, I was thinking this morning, like last year, what really worked out? Like if you're Mike North and you're late in the season, like what game were you like, yes, week 18 Lions Vikings, right? That ended up being for the 1 seed in the NFC. Incredible serendipity, I guess you'd say, or forethought by you guys. What is the moment last year that you were most proud of that sort of worked out?
Good question. I have to remind myself of how the season ended last year. How about... Oh, I got it. It's actually an easy question, Kay. Last year at this time, you'll remember talking to Charlotte, we had to create something that we'd never done before. We had a round robin Saturday to Wednesday on Christmas, and we had to decide last May which 4 teams who all played each other once home, once away. We're all going to be relevant. We're all going to be competitive. We're all going to be in a playoff game down the stretch to anchor 4 national windows, including our first 2 games ever on Netflix on Christmas, global audience. We got that one pretty right. All 4 teams in it right down the stretch. So I think all 4 made the playoffs, right? Yeah, all 4 made the playoffs. Like, that was a pretty clear crystal ball. Kudos to Hans Schroeder and Howard Katz for seeing that one coming. This year, who's the team that we're counting on down the stretch that we really need to be good? It's a great question. You mentioned Cincy Buffalo. I've kind of got my eye on Philly Buffalo in week 17.
Okay.
Like, the last time the Eagles and Bills played each other, it was like right after Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. It was a CBS doubleheader. I think it went even to overtime, did 30 million viewers. If Eagles Bills is relevant in week 17, that's probably a good place for the league to be.
Oh my gosh, I literally love talking to you. I'm like smiling ear to ear.
I can go all day. I love this stuff. I wish this week was started tomorrow.
I bet you haven't slept. I hope you get to sleep at some point. Okay, so I'm in Green Bay. I'm at the draft a couple weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was. And then this like schedule release date gets announced, and I'm like, oh wait, hold what? Like it was so like, where is this coming from? And I thought of you, literally at the draft with my nephews, and I go, okay, is this like a great thing? Like Mike and Charlotte and company have it all figured out already, so they're like flexing, well, let's make a day, or is it like Mike, you were on the clock? Like what did you think of that?
Look, you've been doing this long enough. You know, the schedule used to kind of come out middle of April, kind of under the cover of the night. And it was just like, oh, the schedule's out. Okay, well, let's get back to the draft. Now it's become such this tentpole event. The teams are doing all their social media executions. We're trying to line up interviews and podcasts and coaches and players and reactions from the network partners. It's become this big thing. And it's hard to ask everybody to do that with, 24 hours of notice. So we have to give them some lead time. The truth is, second week in May, that's kind of the sweet spot. So, yes, it was a big reveal, schedule release date, but this is our date now. May 11, 12, 13, 14. This is when the NFL schedule comes out. Post-draft, give all of April to the kids and the prospects and the mocks. And then after they get drafted, now it's, okay, we know where they're playing. Let's find out when they're playing 2 weeks until the schedule comes out. And that gives us just a little time to react if something happened in the draft that maybe wants to shift our focus just a little. I don't think there was anything this year that wildly shifted anything. I think I said this before. We kind of had Kansas City at Jacksonville pinned on the Monday Night Football schedule relatively early in the process. That game only got more interesting when they went up and got the Heisman Trophy winner. So other than that, I don't think anything really changed. But if it had, we had a minute to react.
Love that. I didn't love it for you because I thought maybe it was like a deadline. There's always like a loose deadline.
We're always on the clock, Kay. You know that. Everybody's waiting.
But then, like, you have to
give it before we got the schedule done. They had white smoke before we did.
That's hilarious. And then at some point you have to show the commissioner, right? Like you have to give it, right?
Not at some point. Honestly, every day down the stretch, really almost from the day after the draft, we're in his office or at least in his inbox every day. Here's the current version. All right, I like this. I don't like that. Okay, tomorrow, here's an updated version. Okay, well, I thought I told you guys I wanted one more of that team or one less of that team. Here's the next version. So it's not wildly different at that point. We're kind of painted ourselves into a corner. You know, Hans had a vision of how he wanted to treat each of the network partners. We're always sensitive to how we're treating each of the teams. Bad luck kind of moves around. You don't want it to fall on you the same way over and over again. I heard you talking earlier about Ravens Bengals. Yeah, wave a magic wand. We would have played Ravens Bengals in Cincinnati on a Thursday night. It's time. It's due. They did get the Steelers at home on a Thursday night. Those are the kind of things that down the stretch could you just tinker with, and what's the impact? You know, with the Ravens having a road Thursday game in Miami on Amazon, you couldn't then have a second road Thursday. So it ended up with Baltimore, Cincy, yes, in Baltimore one more year. I'm sure Bengals fans are disappointed. But like I heard you say, you know, go to Baltimore and ruin their Thanksgiving. Nothing better. If you can't win, you know, ruin their season.
Well said. I love that. Don't listen to anybody complaining.
We listen to everybody.
Oh, no, don't. Please don't.
They're the customer. They're the fans, right?
These okay, well, the fans have a lot to say about Kansas City. Mike, they lead the way with 7 primetime games. I'm not surprised. I mean, this is for the first time in NFL history. 5 of those are in the first 8 weeks of the year. Are you surprised? How surprised are you by how surprised people are that the Chiefs are getting so many primetime games?
Yeah, I think if anybody's paid attention, you know, that's sort of what the Kansas City Chiefs schedule is these days. What do they want? 3 of the last 6 Super Bowls? That puts you into a non-routine scheduling formula. Sundays at noon in Arrowhead are rare. There's actually 4 or 5 of them this year, which is probably more than they're probably used to. But yeah, look, the 7th primetime game, if you will, Brazil, that kind of came about at the end. Always we're going to be earmarked for, you know, 2 or 3 NBCs, 2 or 3 ESPNs, and Amazon or 2. Christmas, they literally raised their hand and volunteered, and you can imagine how excited Amazon was for that, knowing they were going to be on the back end of a streaming triple header with Netflix having 2 games on Thursday afternoon on Christmas and then a big Amazon game at the end. So I don't think the Chiefs were surprised. I don't think the Chiefs fans are surprised. Anybody who's been, you know, watching football for the last few years know that's the Chiefs have almost kind of surpassed the Cowboys, really, as the bell cow. And this is what happens when you're pop culture, you know, part of the fabric of the country right now. And this is par for the course for the Chiefs.
Mike, people are going to hear pop culture and think you're doing this for Taylor Swift. That's what the whole internet is saying. But it's more about a belief in the Chiefs as a more, I imagine, global brand and a Patrick Mahomes revenge, light the world on fire tour.
Yeah, and if Taylor wants to come, we'll make sure that. And if you want to sing, that's good too. We need an anthem.
Yeah, there we go. The Steelers play week 1 against the Jets. Interesting. Slide for that. Week 8 against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Where does the Aaron Rodgers world? Is he like a 9th partner? Like what? How did you handle him? How are you handling what looks like uncertainty, but maybe not?
Look, you know as much as we know. If we knew anything definitive, look, the last couple of years, Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Jets and then his first game with the Jets, those were both in primetime windows. I think if we knew anything for certain, you might have seen a Steelers game in primetime in week 1. We don't know anything more than you do. At worst, Steelers-Jets is Justin Fields against his old team. At best, it's Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers playing against their former home. So the Steelers' schedule obviously only gets more interesting if a future Hall of Fame quarterback decides to play, but they're still the Steelers. And, you know, that coach has never had a losing season. They are always in the playoff chase down the stretch. Steelers Packers still sounds like a football game, like Howard Katz would say. I don't think we overindulged on the Steelers. I think their record warrants some national television exposure and their national fan base. And look, those games only get more interesting if Aaron decides to play again. What do any of us know? But, I live in New York. I watched most of his games last year. He still looks like Aaron Rodgers to me. He doesn't seem like a guy who's ready for retirement. So what do we know? We'll see what happens.
It's insane that he's like holding up this puzzle. I'm picturing you with like, all the abacuses
right?
and
We
all
had to
the
go,
things.
right? Especially when the commissioner told the world it was coming out on May 14th. So no pressure on Aaron. The schedule's out. The Steelers are going to be well represented on national television, whether he's there or not. But certainly, I think the fans will be just a little more interested in some games, including probably that Jets game week 1, if he's under center.
I'd be excited. I'm excited. I think it's like weirdly a safe thing. Speaking just in terms of like the Steelers deserve the prime time. Look at their record. Look what they are. Look at they are perennially. Yep. The Vikings have 4 standalone games in the first 5 weeks. So I'm going to see a lot of Vikings. This is JJ McCarthy's welcome to the NFL moment. I believe is Monday Night Football against the Bears. Yep. I said that they're winning the Super Bowl. Like they have to win it. Does this mean that y'all are as high on the Vikings as I am?
Well, that's a 14, 15 win team from last year. It's not like 14. We're taking a flyer, right? That coach seems to be able to win with whoever he has playing quarterback. And the last time we saw JJ, he was winning a national championship. So I think we believe in the team. Yes. I think Monday Night Football of week 1. Yep. Kind of welcome to the NFL, JJ. You're on the national stage against a team that arguably won the offseason, right? They added pieces in the draft and free agency and got the hot coach that seems like he could have gone anywhere, and he chose Chicago. I'm sure he has his reasons. So Bears Vikings, Howard Katz would say, again, sounds like a football game. It's a great bookend to a week 1 with a lot of really good stuff in it, right? You talk about kickoff with Dallas, Philly. You've got a doubleheader game of Detroit, Green Bay in Lambeau on CBS. 2 NFC teams playing on CBS. Sunday nighter, a Balt Buff, and then the Monday nighter, Mini Chai, and all that didn't even leave room for a Pittsburgh, Chicago in prime time. So, and doesn't even account for Friday night in Brazil. So a great week 1 all the way through. Excited for it. And yes, JJ will have his welcome to the NFL moment and then go get to spend 2 weeks in the UK. They're doing the back-to-back. Steelers in Dublin, Browns in London, and going to stay over there. First time we've had a team do that too. So a lot of new stuff for the Vikings this year.
I love that. We're on a TV break now. We're still very much live on YouTube going to get this content out. You mentioned Friday night YouTube. So, Mike, you didn't have enough distribution partners to deal with. Like they were like, this is getting too easy for North and Carrie and company. YouTube, part of the family now. Big game right off the bat. What makes YouTube unique?
Well, they've been part of the family, right? They've got the Sunday ticket package, so they've got the out-of-market games. YouTube TV is a partner. A lot of fans get their games from YouTube TV. I don't have it, but I understand you could do the multi-view and you can pick your own games in the 6 or 8 windows. Like a lot of people speak really highly. And yeah, when you have an opportunity to bring a partner into a bigger role and have them do something that they haven't really done before, they haven't produced an NFL game before, so they're going to have our friends at NBC actually produce the game for them. And those are the guys that produced the Brazil game last year for Peacock. So they've got that experience. It was a wild success last year with Packers Eagles. And you start thinking about a Chargers Chiefs game. Those have been really good games the last couple of years. They're always tight, always come down to the end, usually high scoring. And, 2 playoff teams and 2 superstar quarterbacks. Fun way to start the season. And the fact that we could use Friday night again this year because of the way the calendar worked, we start earlier with Labor Day so early. Yeah, kind of a chance to run it back. Good success last year, Friday night in Brazil. Let's do it again.
Can't wait to see. Last one for you. How close are we to 2 bye weeks?
It's a great question. It does feel like there's a lot of momentum for 18-2, or at least an 18th game in the regular season. But don't forget, we were 40 years at 16-4, right? We've only been 3 years at 17-3. I don't think this is coming tomorrow, but it's obviously a lot that we've been talking about. And if we could swap out as fans 1 preseason week for a regular season week, that's great. The challenge with the bye, honestly, is going to be really twofold. Number one, if you talk to Dawn Aponte and Jeff Miller and our health and safety guys, they'll tell you that it's not the short weeks, it's not the long travel where you see the injuries spike. It's after the bye week because the players are out of the building, they get into their routine, then they come back and they have to ramp up real quick and go play a game that matters. We only have 17 of them. They all count. So you got to ramp back up quickly. I think we're seeing more injuries post-bye than really anywhere else. So do you want to add a second bye? That second sort of, chance to get hurt? That's a question. And then the other thing, at least as a schedule maker, as a fan, love it, obviously. Regular season, 20 weeks of football, please. As a schedule maker, though, you guys know, you look at the schedule and you see some weeks right in the middle where you've already got 6 teams on bye, you've got an international game, you've got a Thursday game. Those Sunday afternoons, they get a little thin. You might only have 5 or 6 total for CBS and Fox in a weekend. We're going to add 32 more buys to this puzzle. We're not going to do it in weeks 1, 2, and 3. We're not going to do it in weeks 18, 19, 20. So that's a couple of more games every week in the middle of the schedule that are going to have to come out if teams are going to have to catch their buys. And now a team's going to need separation between their 2 buys, their buys and their Thursdays, their 2 buys and their 2 Thursdays. It's daunting mathematically. So I'm not sure 2 buys is a given. If it is, we'll figure it out. But there's definitely some unintended consequences, some downstream impact on the poor schedule makers.
You've literally put my head in a pretzel there. Like, that is unbelievable. I'm so thankful for you as a fan. Like, that you handle all of this, that you do it so well. NFL Vice President of Broadcast Planning and Scheduling, Mike North, thank you. I got, I'm not going to bring him on with you, don't worry, but I got Joe Schoen here. And I'm sure he wants to talk to you about that. He'd love to talk to you about the strength of schedule on the Giants.
The strength of schedule's out of our hands. That one had nothing to do with us. That's just rotation. If he wants to talk about the primetime games, that he can give me a call. But he certainly knows where to find me if he needs.
Because those first 4 weeks are a little daunting for those Giants. I appreciate you, Mike North. You get out of here. I'll separate the two of you. And let's take a look at the Giants schedule release video before we bring on the great GM.
Okay. You guys ready for this?
This is really nice.
I'm built for this.
Let's get this thing started, y'all!
Like my hair? I was due for a blowout. Hi, I'm Destiny, but everyone calls me Dynasty. My favorite animals are zebras. I love the stripes.
It's a dating show. Joe Schoen, I'm like too old for schedule release videos. There's like all this going on. I'm like, what are these people I'm supposed to know? Are these TikTokers? What's going on? How are you? You're smiling. You don't want to duke it out with Mike North about the schedule?
No, he's talking about the bye week. Last year we had a bye week and then we had a short week right after it. So we had 2 quick games after a bye, and we actually did have some injuries in those games. So it was fun that.
Do you think that there's truth to that? Like, I had never even thought of that concept, and now we're talking about adding 2. But would you would want 2 if you had 18, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course, but the league does a great job, looking at the medical data and the player safety. So, they do a lot of research on that. They understand the numbers and what's best for the players, and the player safety is always going to take precedence. So I know they do a lot of work on that. So if it eventually we would of course take that, because you always want your roster the best, and there's your roster attrition and injury. So the extra bye would definitely help.
It's good to see you. That video is roasting every team on the schedule, on the docket for the Giants. A little bulletin board material. I like the bravado. When you saw the full schedule, whenever you did, where do your eyes as a GM immediately go?
Yeah, right at the beginning, you want to get off to a fast start. That's something we did in 2022, and we haven't the last 2 years. So, you'd always like to get off to a fast start if you can. And we have 2 division games there with Washington and Dallas right out of the gate, and then a primetime game at home. So again, you got to play them all, just a matter of when and where. And, short weeks, you're always looking at short weeks and primetime games and some of those things. Where's the bye? Ours is obviously late. But again, the teams that you're going to play. It's just a matter of how they fall and where they fall in the schedule. But, I always look at the first quarter of the season, the first 4 games, and, you'd like to get out to a fast start.
I mean, 2 road division games. We should tell the world. You've got the Chiefs in primetime, 3 playoff teams in your first 4 games. Toughest schedule, which you knew that you were going to have going into this. Do you enjoy that? How are you and Dable sort of embracing that to start the season?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it. It is what it is, and we have to control the controllables. And, we're going to focus on us right now this time of year and bringing the guys together. We have some new players, rookies, and free agents that we signed. So really just starting to build the team culture and the continuity amongst the guys that we have. And each year it's different, and, there's a lot of roster turnover year to year. So right now we're just focused on us, and, we like some of the pieces that we brought in this offseason. And as those guys continue to gel, we'll be ready to go at the start of the season.
Third overall pick, Abdul Carter in the building. You keep seeing pictures. I got to meet him. I get to hang out with him at the rookie premiere on Saturday as well. What have you noticed about him as he's been in the building that you didn't in the short time you got to spend with him in the process?
Yeah, really just the work ethic. You get to see it now. You hear about it and how much he loves football, and he's constantly working. So our rookies are in there early in the morning, the first lift group. So to see him in there working, doing the extra after, the field work. So you hear about it, but when you take a guy where we took Abdul at number 3 and you see a guy that's doing all the right things when he's in the building, that's what's most impressive. And that's really what you want when you're going to invest the third pick in a player.
I really love this defense, and I don't think enough people, I don't know if you want to keep it under the radar because everyone's talking about Dart and the offense. This defense is really good. You've made some huge pickups, adding Javon Holland and Paulson. He can make an immediate impact at corner. I expect that, especially with that gauntlet to start the season. I really do think that you've put together one of the better defenses in the league. Am I getting ahead of myself as we take a look at some of these moves?
Okay, well, I appreciate you saying that. On paper, I like some of the pieces. Again, we still got to come together and gel as a whole. But yeah, Javon Holland, a guy that we added from Miami, has been a productive player in this league. Also provides some leadership, ball skills. Paulson Adebo is the same boat. A lot of career production in terms of interceptions and PBUs. Provides some leadership for us. And then, you look up front, some of the additions, the ability to get after the quarterback and some of the players that we don't have up there with Burns, Dexter, Kayvon. So, on paper, I like the defense. There's some good players, good leadership, some guys with vet experience and some young guys. Then we have players that are going into year 2 that played well year 1 that I'm excited to see how a Tyler Newbin, a Drew Phillips play this year going into their second year. They've had good off seasons. They've been around a lot. They've been working hard. So, add the new guys with some of the guys that were here, and I'm excited to see what those guys can do.
Some continuity with the DC. You got Schoen back. I like that you picked up Tibbs' 5th-year option. Some people thought maybe he's out because Abdul is now in the mix. How do you envision Kayvon's role?
Yeah, all those guys. There's going to be ways that we can get them on the field together. Obviously, Abdul has some versatility. He played off the ball when he was at Penn State. So, we've dropped Kayvon before. We've dropped Burns. There's just versatility amongst those groups. So Shane's doing a good job of, how he's going to envision those guys on the field at times. Sometimes you're going to be against mobile quarterbacks where, maybe some of those guys spy, or there's a lot of different scheme fits that we can use with these guys because they do have the versatility and they're all smart enough to learn multiple jobs. So I'm excited about it. Shane is too. And, they've been up in the lab upstairs and in the defensive meeting room looking at how they're going to use all these guys.
And then, of course, your son Carson, who we know is a proficient quarterback scout, like Jaden Daniels. Now you bring in Abdul Carter to suck the soul out of him twice a year. How's he taking that?
He's always going to root for me first, so he's fired up. But him playing quarterback, he's got his favorite quarterbacks around the league, and I appreciate that because I think we were all like that growing up. So I would never take that away from him. But he's always rooting for me, and he liked the Abdul Carter pick.
Good. I think Giants fans earnestly, I have hundreds of comments from people. They earnestly want to know what he thinks of Jackson Dart, like what the scouting report is of your son, since, he seems to be proficient in the area. Yeah, no,
he is. And he likes to study these guys. And I love his passion for the game, but he's a fan of Jackson. Again, I have a daughter that goes to school there. So you naturally become a fan of where your kids go to school. So we were able to follow him, and I've taken him to the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana the last couple of summers, and he gets to be around these kids. So I just think he looks up to any of these kids that are Division I athletes and idolizes them. And Jackson was good to him the couple of times he's met him. So he likes the pick as well. Carson was on board with that.
I love it. Carson knows ball. He can play a little bit too. He's a quarterback at Don Bosco. We saw a video of him practicing. I need the scouting mode. Okay, Joe, break down Carson's form for me.
Oh Lord, where do y'all find this stuff? He's supposed to be. Oh Lord, yeah, no, he's working really hard at it right now. Nobody coaches him harder than me. So he works actually with Matt Sims, which is Phil Sims' kids, every now and then, and QB Country and some other guys. He's working hard about it. He's got a long way to go. He's in a competition right now. So again, just like us, he's got to focus on himself and control what he can control.
Why did that elicit an "Oh Lord"?
It's just the social media world. We don't need to post every video that we're working out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just different era.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The Giants are crushing it on socials. Like when I'm watching this stuff with Jackson, or even just the release of the war room and the draft stuff, I obviously thought of you because you and I talked about Hard Knocks, the cameras, what it's like, the PTSD it caused. Was it are you more used to it now? How did that go for you? Because I was even talking to Casario about it. Like, you guys have to hate having these cameras in your face, or do you?
No, yeah. I just after that experience, it's you'd rather not. Even the Giants life that they did, it's like, I'd rather just work in the dark, nobody see what we're doing, and the results hopefully speak for themselves. So you put yourself out there, and again, I'm not on social media, but everybody's got an opinion now. So by not doing some of that stuff, you don't put yourself out there, and we obviously did that a year ago. So I met my quota on that stuff.
I mean, I love that. With Jackson Dart, there is an idea on social media, I think even in the media, and supported by some creative video editing, that this pick of Jackson Dart was Dable's. This is Dable's guy. Is that what you want me to think, or is this your guy too?
No, it was an organizational decision. Any player that we take, it's a collaborative process, and it's very detailed, and we believe in it. So, Jackson's a guy that was on the radar throughout the fall. We were able to see play live, spend a lot of time with him at the Senior Bowl, as well this spring. So it helps when the head coach has an offensive background and has a history with developing quarterbacks. And then you throw in a Mike Kafka, who was there for Patrick Mahomes' rookie year, where he only played one game, and he got to see that development, and Shea Tierney, our quarterback coach. So 3 coaches on staff that have been a part of, the development of 2 pretty good quarterbacks in the league right now. And when they're convicted on a player and the scouting staff's convicted on a player, typically you have the best chance for success in those situations.
Mm-hmm. When in the process did y'all collaboratively know? Or really, I would just like to know you personally, because you're the GM. When did you know he was your guy?
Yeah, the week of the draft, the Monday before the draft, we had a final meeting, and it's like, now we have all the information. We've seen these guys multiple times. We've spent, we had dinners with them. We've been on campus. We've done private workouts, and we really sat down. And as the draft gets closer, you really start to narrow your circle. You want to eliminate outside voices. So my leadership group, along with a couple of the coaches, we sat down and we went through our final rankings, and that's when we started to devise a plan, whether we'd, go with, a player at 3 and then potentially tried to trade back into the first round. We had a pretty good idea that Abdul would be there at 3. And then, what were the other scenarios where, we could potentially acquire Jackson.
Congratulations on it. And the swing, the way you did it. I love it. There's so much being made about Jackson Dart's, like his moxie, like his sauce, like how he is, like the ball spinning and all of that. How do you see that? And is that a big deal in that locker room? Is that, can you break down his swag for me, coach? Not coach, but GM, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
Yep.
And sometimes, some of those players that you see that maybe have some of the stuff that you used to have when you played. And, I think Dayball would probably have a little bit of the same moxie when he played. And I probably did too. So you like that. You like the competitiveness. He's competitive in anything that he does. You saw him when he got that bullseye. You're talking about the social media. So that was anything you do, he's uber competitive. We got ping pong tables in here, pool, whatever it is. He wants to win. And that shows up on film, the way he plays, the energy he plays, the toughness. You see him stand in the pocket, take hits, and still deliver the ball accurately. And then what really stood out was the leadership. I think some of that moxie can transcend across both sides of the football, leading not just the offensive guys, but the defensive guys, special teams, whoever it may be, and truly being the leader of that Ole Miss team. So, those are all traits that we covet and we look for. And, obviously it spills over, and he's a little bit outwardly with his emotion on the field. And mind that at all, because that can be contagious, whether it's amongst your teammates, the crowd, momentum, whatever it may be. You love the passion and toughness that he plays with.
Was it your goal, Joe, to create the most, I don't even know how to describe, unique, eclectic quarterback room ever?
No, I didn't approach it that way with that in mind. But again, having Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston have been great additions for us. Just 2 veteran guys that have played a long time. I mean, Russ is I believe it's one of 7 quarterbacks that have been to 10 Pro Bowls and won a Super Bowl. And then Jameis Winston, former #1 pick. So both of guys have been starting quarterbacks with organizations. They've led teams. They've been leaders of organizations. So to add the veteran presence along with the leadership on the offensive side of the ball and the ability for both of them to be vocal and, lead the young players and even some of the veterans, they've just been tremendous additions. And, I'm pleased with those guys and what they've done this far in the offseason program.
I haven't heard much about Jackson Dart's leadership. There's like so much other stuff going on. I like that you're sort of focusing on what he can be as a leader, but I'm also curious how he can balance that in a room with a bona fide Super Bowl champ and a Jameis Winston, who is somebody who is just magnetic and everybody loves. Like, how can he, and he's so young, how's that going to work? How can he be a leader in that room,
Yeah, Kay, it's hard for any of these young players to come in and lead. Maybe you were the man in your college or university, whatever it is, but a lot of these guys do a good job of coming in and they just kind of stay in their lane their rookie year. And again, these are grown men. Some people have wife and kids and they're 30. It's hard for a 21 or 22-year-old to come around and, really lead these guys. So I think some of it's feel, take the temperature of the room, when it's right to step up and say something, and that'll come with time. Again, some of the quarterbacks I've been around, it was year 2, year 3, before you truly become comfortable in your own skin and being vocal and leading, the guy. So for Jackson, he's in a unique situation that he can sit behind, a couple guys that have played at a high level and already had those leadership qualities and learn from those guys. And I think that'll just pay dividends, down the road in his career.
When you brought Jameis Winston in the meeting, take me to the meeting. Like, is it the most you've ever smiled in a meeting? Like, tell me about the Jameis Winston, Joe Schoen experience.
He's just awesome. Again, I just saw him from afar, so I didn't really know him, but sitting down and speaking with him and then watching him at practice every day, like, the guy's got energy. He's animated. I think he's hilarious. I think he's got a really good personality. I was just out on the field. They're out there right now, and he did a couple of things that made me laugh. So again, he's got a presence about him. He's got very good size. He can still throw it. He's got a great personality. So I've really enjoyed being around him and getting to know him.
Love that. What did he do today that made you laugh?
A guy dropped the ball. We had a redo, and he's out there like, in real life, we don't get a chance for redos. It's just, spontaneous. Yeah. And I was like, he's right. We don't get redos. So, but it's the off-season program, so we get redos. So,
he's such a hard worker. I mean, I think a Broadway director, I think like Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to approach you guys about buying the rights to the musical of that quarterback room. Like, I think it's going to be amazing. And I think it matters. I know you didn't plan on doing it, but like all of those personalities matter. Like, it matters to have the Alex Smith for Mahomes like that. It does. It matters. It matters a lot. But you need to get him a wide receiver, I hear, right? Are we, I'm excited. We're exploring some depth to the wideout room.
Yeah, it was reported that Gabe came in yesterday, and obviously I have history with him, having been in Buffalo when we drafted him, and Dave's was there, and then Chad Hall was his receiver coach in Buffalo and in Jacksonville, and we brought him up. He's our assistant quarterback coach now. So he's coming off an injury. He was cut by Jacksonville, so he came up for a visit. He hadn't been in New York or seen the facility or staff. So just a little get-to-know meeting yesterday, went out to dinner, and then, we'll see if anything transpires here down the road.
Okay, so you don't want to make any announcements. You could just do it, because there's some fun free agents. You don't want to say Gabe Davis to the Giants?
Yeah, there will be no announcements today.
Okay. I love that. This Scatterbo kid really takes the internet by storm. Obviously, there's things we know. He's a tough runner. He picks that number 44, which was sort of weird and such a fun little throwback. What's something that we're not talking about enough with Cam?
Yeah, with Cam, geez, I think everybody's seen the film, so you see how tough he is, how he runs, his play style, his balance and body control. What really stood out through the process with him is his football intelligence. He's a super smart kid. He picked up all the tests throughout our process very quickly, and then assimilating in with the veterans this week, he's just done a really good job picking up the nuances of the offense. And, he's ahead of a lot of rookies, I would say, that typically come into that position, but hard worker. What you see on film is what he's been, throughout the week in terms of, displaying the toughness and competitive nature that shows up on film.
Does Eli have an all access pass?
Eli?
Mm-hmm.
He's got an office here. It's
He
more
does?
for
Oh, I didn't know that.
than him actually sitting in it or being in his office. But yeah, he's here often.
Do you think he'll be there very often? Like he has said a lot of things about Jackson. Of course, they have their connections. He's connected to the Giants anyway. Do you feel like he'll make his presence even more known and be more available?
I haven't spoke with him about it. He's pretty busy right now with his kids.
Yeah.
He's got kids involved in sports, so I know he's running around doing a lot of that stuff. I think a couple of kids do travel sports. So between him and his wife, they are spread pretty thin.
Yeah, I have to look up his, maybe his kids' footage on the social medias like I did yours. Last one for you. There's this idea that this NFL draft lottery could happen, should happen. What the NBA does is picking up a lot of steam this week. Would you be in favor of that?
I would not. I would not be in favor of that, specifically for the NFL. And typically, if you're picking up there, I mean, what's the most important position for a franchise? So if you're in that position, you've probably earned the right to hopefully get one of those players that can turn the luck around the franchise for potentially 15 to 20 years. So that's why I'd be in favor of that. I don't know enough about the NBA or followed enough, but I was watching that the other night, and I thought that was pretty intriguing when they showed up the percentage chance that Dallas would get the first pick. And then put myself in that GM seat after what happened with the trade and everything else. I'm like, boy, that worked out well for him. Couldn't have worked out any better.
Oh, Coach, I'm literally coughing. I can't even talk. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking a break. I'm going to cough. You're the best. Good luck this year. Oh my gosh, Joe. You're the best. Thank you, Joe.
All right, thanks.
We will be back after this. Oh my goodness. Damn. I've been so sick all week.
Oh no.
You guys hear me in the meeting. I'm like coughing the whole time. And then I somehow can put it together for an hour and I can't. Tell Joe, sorry. I can't. It's like not even.
No.
Oh my gosh. It's not even sick. I have like a scratch, like I scratched something.
Oh no. I'll do the futures off of that, or do you want to do the futures now?
I don't think I'll be able to even talk, so relax. Relax on anything.
No. Yeah, I did.
I mean, he deaded that draft thing. That's, you guys wanted that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We need to end the madness. It's an insane idea to do in the NFL.
You can tell he likes his defense.
Yeah. Really likes him a lot. It was interesting to hear too, Scatterbo, ahead of other rookies already picked up the offense and is like in with the vets. That was interesting.
Didn't even hear that because I was dying inside.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's great. Everything's great.
You wanna?
That was awful. I'm so sorry to Joe.
Do you wanna take this last minute?
No, I'm great.
You go. Okay.
I mean, no, but whatever.
Okay.
Is Jack Sedart his guy? I don't understand.
It seems like it. from what he had to say.
You guess what you got from what he had to say?
He said we all wanted him. It was everyone in this organization was aligned. Yeah.
He said it was collab.
Yeah.
That's like if I said I really wanted all the uniform questions in the rundown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's collaborative. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I was overruled. We got to ask every person about that.
I do think there's something
he got
too.
He got such a kick out of the Don Bosco. It was so funny.
Yeah, that was great. But I do think there's something too when you have an offensive head coach like that.
Welcome back to Up and Adams. I just had a coughing attack. It happens to everybody. What are you going to do? At least I didn't drop an F-bomb on TV. I've done that also. We have some NFL future specials over on FanDuel I want to tell you about. Take a look at the future specials tab. Follow my instructions. Go to the NFL side, then go to future specials, and then you can pull them up. It's under K Adams NFL future specials. I like this custom NFC North one. You can get any 3 of those teams to make the playoffs at plus 390. I love that. I know I'm high on a bunch of teams that start with B, so I figured let's parlay them together, guys. This is my B parlay. You can get it on the Bills, Bengals, Bucks, and Broncos. How about that? Bills, Bengals, Bucks, Broncos, all to make the playoffs. I like it at plus 550. And if you are a fan of mascots with horns, how about this? Rams, Texans, Bills to win their division. You know, I don't know what the odds are on that. Plus 750 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Please go there. Please play the really fun NFL future parlays that we have there. There's a couple more, right, Ham? Let me pull that. I can't read that thing. There were more. What was the other? I picked up 2 other ones. We did this like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What are they?
There were a few more. There were those teams that you expect to make big turnarounds this year. The Patriots, Jaguars, and Panthers to all beat their win totals.
Patriots having 7 wins. It's 7 out of 7.5. It's 7. Crazy.
Yeah.
Over. Bang the over on that. Jags, Panthers. I love that. And then there's the Bengals and Commanders to make the conference championship game, which I think will happen. I think it's a doozy. Yeah, of course, barring they get their stuff together.
Yeah, and I mean, plus 2,600 for that. Those are 2 really good teams to get plus 2,600 odds for. Gotta like that.
Okay, great. We'll see you guys on Monday. We have Summer Fridays tomorrow. So we'll see you guys. And I don't even know what guests we have for a limited week. Oh, okay. No guests yet. It's fun. It's a really fun life I'm living. Big thanks to Mike North for taking some time for us today. And you guys can, of course, subscribe to our YouTube. Please do that. And then thank you to Joe Schoen. And I'm going to have to clip off that Bengals thing where he says, go in there and win. And I want you guys to maybe take a moment, Bengals fans, and really think about what you've done in the past 24 hours. What kind of energy you're putting into the world. Go ahead.
And we do have a couple fun guests for next week already on the book. Cam Bynum, Isaiah Likely.
Oh,
those will be fun.
Coach Lou better let that Cam Bynum celebrate. That's what I'll say. Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, Hammy, for all your hard work. See you. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Be kind. Goodbye.